Can I talk about the approach
Yeah,
anxiety?
please,
Because I didn't really answer
please,
that question.
please.
So why do guys have approach anxiety? I think that there are two ways that we can approach this idea. One is from the perspective of evolutionary psychology. We know that women are the gatekeepers of sex, and sex is life. On some level, from an evolutionary standpoint, it's not just enough for the individual to not die. That individual has to be able to reproduce.
Mhm,
They call that sexual selection,
mhm.
right? Now, when a woman says no to a man's sexual advances for whatever reason, deep in his like evolutionary programming, this woman is basically saying, I don't think that you are fit to reproduce.
Bam.
And therefore, I think it's okay for you to go extinct.
Mm.
Like the threat of extinction lurks in a deep unconscious cellular level in men's unconscious because they understand what is really at stake. It's just sex, it's just relationships, but on a deeper level, since sex is life, it's also kind of connected to life and death and the survival or the perpetuation of one's genes into perpetuity. Does that make sense?
Man, that was
That was deep.
literally one of the best explanations for it. I mean, yeah, it's literally a fear of you being told that your lineage does not deserve to continue,
That's right.
is what it is, and that's like a deep-rooted biological fear. And
Very
I've
few
always-
guys are consciously thinking that. That's
Of
why I keep
course.
saying it's deeply unconscious. It's maybe like in our biological heritage.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's saying no, nigga. Like, no.
Yeah. Would you say that because I've always like asked women this, like, what are human beings put on earth to do, right? And sometimes they say a career, have fun,
No.
blah blah. And I'm like, well, no. The real reason we're here from a biological raw standpoint, right, outside of the modern conventions that we enjoy today, is to reproduce. And I think everything that we do in life, etc., typically is tied to that ability to reproduce at some point. Whether you're a man and you're creating excess resources, or you're a woman and you're keeping
Beauty.
yourself up a certain level,
Yeah.
all of it is done for sexual access to some degree, whether it's whether it's direct or indirect, because that's what we're put on earth to do. And people, like you said before, are going to run away from pain, right? And that pain a lot of times can stem from you being rejected and them saying, yo, your lineage is not going to be continued with me, because a rejection is essentially her telling you that.
Rejection is painful until you have enough of it, and then you can
Good point.
just receive it as information.
Yeah.
I call these the 3 P's of rejection. People think it's painful, it's personal, and it's permanent. And
Mm.
rejection needn't be any one of those 3 things.
Mm.
It's just information that right now you haven't.
What are those 3
set-
P's again? Personal.
Personal, painful, and permanent.
Really good. Okay.
I mean, think about it. It certainly can't be personal. The woman has spent all of
30 seconds.
She don't know you.
Yeah, 2 minutes with
Yeah.
you. It can't be a personal rejection.
Mm.
It could be a marketing problem, like how you're dressed or how you're presenting yourself in that moment. Could be that she's just not into your look. Okay, fair enough.
She might have had a bad day.
She might have. You never
Personal,
know.
painful, and what was the last one?
Permanent.
Permanence.
That just because I failed now, that I'm going to continue to fail
Yeah.
indefinitely, and that's just not true. So once you get rejected about 100 times, it's just information. It's
Yeah.
just, no, I don't want to play. It's
Mhm.
like, okay, no problem. I'll take if you watch kids on the playground, they'll go to one kid, hey, you want to play Foursquare? And they'll say, no, I'm playing this. The kid doesn't just like collapse and cry. He just says, goes to say, hey, you want to play Foursquare? And he finds somebody until, oh, okay, I'll play with you. And they go run off and play Foursquare. It's not.
And that's why you need to have that abundance mindset, because one girl telling you no isn't the end of the world, because it's not permanent.
Not at all.
But she might say yes.
Yeah.
Next girl.
And not only that, I think a lot of guys that might not be in this space or not understand the true psyche of female nature, they don't understand that, number one, it's a numbers game, it's a volume game, and you're probably going to get rejected better than 90% of the time. Like 10% of guys, men that close 10% are like considered gods, right? So rejection is going to come. And the other thing too, I think, and I want to get your take on this, Doc, guys tend to personalize it, like you said before, right? That the girl rejected him or whatever, but a girl can reject you because she just doesn't feel good that day. Maybe she's going through something. Maybe she literally just got off a phone call or whatever. And if you had talked to that girl maybe 20 minutes prior or another day, she would have given you a chance. It's a lot of the times it's not even you, it's the person themselves that has something going on.
Yeah.
Because since women are typically more, I want to get your take on women and emotion, etc. as well. But since women are more emotionally inclined in their thought process and their decision making, they might reject you off of things that have nothing to do with you.
Well, that's certainly true. And rejection can occur throughout a relationship. Like a rejection can happen when you cold approach a woman, but a rejection could also happen after you've been out a couple times and you text, "Hey, how was your week? What are you doing?"
Good point.
Now, this is why I generally recommend that men, once they've established an emotional connection, they don't pursue, because you don't really know where she's at emotionally whenever you send that text into the blue.
Mm.
She could be having a bad day, and the way that emotions work is they color our perceptions. They switch our memory. They're full body, full psyche experiences, and you experience everything through the lens of that emotion once it becomes emotionally active, right? So if she's having a bad day, she sees your text, this dude again,
Yeah.
blowing up my phone.
Misogyny.
So it's much better to wait, if you can, for the woman to reach out, because pretty much regardless of the context or the pretext, when a woman reaches out to you out of the blue, she's basically saying, I've been missing you. I want to
I want to see
see you.
you.
I miss your presence. It's
Yeah.
like, if you respond to her then and you begin to communicate with her then, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. You're kind of guaranteed a yes in that
Mhm.
place.
Yeah.
Which is, if you're just throwing darts blindly at the board, you don't really know where she's at emotionally whenever you reach out to her, especially in the early stages of the courtship process.
It's funny because we use that a lot too. For example, let's say we go on a date with a girl, right? We have a good time, good experience. Let's say we smash her, we didn't smash, doesn't really matter. But we won't text her back the next day.
No.
She has to do it first.
Sure. So I have a rule about that where after I see a woman, I wait 6 days until the next contact. Usually
Okay.
I don't have to wait that long. Usually
Uh-huh.
they reach out to me before then.
Yeah.
But if after 6 days go by, I will send what I call the courtesy text, and I will reach out and say, "Hey, how you going?" And based on her response, I'll either plan another date or, kick the can down the road.
Typically, they ask the question, "How's your day going?" Or
Yeah.
what are you up to?" Or they say, "Oh, I had a fun time last night. Can I see you?"
Yeah.
Typically.
You made a video that men need to be the adored. And I thought that was a fantastic video. Women need to be the adorer and men need to be the adored, but we live in a society where we adore the women and not the other way around. And I've talked about this ad nauseum on my pod as well, that women need to chase a man's validation and never the other way around.
Mhm.
Can you talk about it from a psychological perspective? Because we kind of just touched on it now.